7:03. Rise to the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You are the rose and pink people.
That's what I said.
You guys,
I knew this was gonna sit there.
Secretary usually does roll call.
Yes.
Yep.
Was the other thing, I think she-
Roll call, Bryon.
We can do that. Okay, Michelle Fox.
Excused.
Mr. Kruse.
Here.
It was a
Mr.
weekend.
Hoeskma.
Here.
Mrs. Hoeskma.
Here.
Mr. Kenyon.
Excused.
You got one of
Mr. Kruse.
Here.
Corbett.
Here.
Mr. Ries is present. Mr. Weiss.
Excused.
Mrs. Young.
Yep.
And Mrs. Zelenak.
Here.
Approval of agenda of October 1st, 2014. Everybody should have a copy of that, I think. Does anybody have anything they want to add to the agenda?
Yeah, the flowers. I don't know if that's funding. No.
If it's just the bill, I think we voted to, well, I can talk about it, that's fine,
Because we're over budget, we need to.
discuss it. All right, let's put item G, flowers. Anybody else have anything? Okay, I move to accept the agenda as amended.
By second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Approval of the minutes of September 3rd, 2014.
That was a quick meeting.
Under old business, maybe it should say, and approval of Jan Kellogg?
I don't think it makes any difference in how it actually reads, though. And we approved Jan Kelly from NLA. Yeah, I don't know.
There's a column.
Okay, so you make a motion to approve the minutes.
I motion. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public comment?
Anything, Joe?
Joe?
I'll wait till
Brad?
later.
You can't talk then.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, no public comment, moving on. Correspondence, I received 2 letters through the DDA email. Both of which require some discussion probably. There's a letter from Michelle Fox, Bakken Store, Central Lake, September 30th, to Cory Hoeskma, Chair and Central Lake Downtown Development Authority. Dear Cory, I'm opting not to renew my DDA 1-year board term upon its expiration this month. Professional obligation and personal responsibilities have made it necessary for me to withdraw my position from my position on the board. I've enjoyed serving Central Lake as a DDA board member and look forward to being active on the board in the future. I love Central Lake and I appreciate that I was able to help revive the DDA. Sincerely, Michelle Fox. So, that's one, and we're gonna have to, someone will have to motion to accept her resignation. Well, actually, she's not really resigning.
Resigning, she's
No,
just-
not seeking approval, so that's her reappointment. So that's one. Second thing, dear board members of the Central Lake DDA, the Christmas tree in downtown Central Lake is in desperate need of new Christmas lights. It has 4 old sad strings on it now. I've done research on the subject and would like to ask the DDA's financial support of a one-time expenditure up to but not exceeding $1,000 to purchase Christmas lights and needed accessories. The lights would be C9 multicolored constant lights. Ralph Hines has volunteered his equipment and time to string the lights, and my husband and myself have volunteered to do the actual stringing and removal. If you approve this purchase, we would like to do it soon so that we can work on the tree before the snow flies. This would be an excellent opportunity for a collaborative effort with the Central Lake Chamber of Commerce, as the Chamber will be hosting Window Night on Saturday, December 6th, to support the local merchants. We will have a tree lighting ceremony at this time. It'd be a wonderful improvement for the downtown area and for the village of Central Lake. We can certainly place a sign by the tree indicating the contribution of the DDA. If you have any further questions, please feel free to contact me at this, there's a phone number and an email address. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Thank you for your consideration, Maggie Mall.
Is that the one in front of, the bank?
I think that's one from the Alden State Bank. And isn't Maggie's on the planning commission?
Yes.
It doesn't say that.
Both her and Rob are also members of the chamber.
Are they on the board of the chamber, or they're just members of the chamber?
They're just members.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that
And
one.
then Rob's the village council.
If I may, suggest that we, as a collaborative sort of a effort, in Rapid City last year, we did, buy a foot of Christmas lights for the tree outside of our store for like $1 or $5. Something like a foot, $1, type of thing. And
Yeah,
doing
it's
that
kind of a
promotion,
fundraiser.
we got I think we got 200 feet, paid for by the, local residents coming in. That's certainly something we as a business would be happy to host if the DDA per se wanted to put that forth as like a fundraising effort for the communities. Perhaps Blue Pelican may want to, join in on, by the way, would you like to, contribute $1 or $5 for a foot or 5 feet?
Sure.
And then, respectively speaking, then whatever our business raises, then we would turn around and perhaps match that contribution, which would help relieve that
Yeah.
debt off of the
Right.
village and the DDA per se, which really has,
We really don't have any money other than what the village has given us to work with, and I'm sure
Right.
we're under budget, and that will probably be next month's discussion, but, as
which
far
we
as the
haven't,
budget.
and obviously we haven't spent all of that 20,000 yet, but, needless to say, it's a way to bring the community forth and contributing and helping in that effort.
And $1 at a time isn't like.
$1 a time isn't
Right.
anything.
Right.
Yeah.
So maybe,
$1
maybe
a
more
foot.
approach it as, kind of less of a DDA thing, more of a business thing, is that what you're,
Well, downtown,
it would still be downtown, though.
kind of focus
Right.
to build it or something, right? Like to build the momentum or?
Right, I mean, like if Village Market brings in 200 and we match 200 and Blue Pelican raises 200 and they match 200,
Yeah.
then, then the DDA, Chamber, Village, whoever only has 200
Total
left
to come up with.
to come up with.
Pharmacy wants to, or?
And it's not putting any particular burden on any particular entity.
Yeah, I like that idea, because it kind of spreads it out a little bit.
Buy your drugs
Sounds good.
and contribute a foot.
Yeah. Yeah.
Instead of a $10 copay, it's $11.
Yeah, but I'm sure the pharmacy would be willing to sell, I can't speak for them, but
I'm sure we go around and ask. that way we
between the
probably-
different businesses and stuff.
Does somebody want to kind of head that up? Is that something we should maybe talk to Maggie on and Rob and say, hey, we're willing to do this, but we want to, we'll appoint somebody to kind of head that up and
Right.
coordinate it?
Yep. But I'd be happy to work on behalf of the DDA to help
So-
kind of close in those,
And also,
those gaps.
and also, by the time we vote on it and everything else, it might
Maybe
be
too late.
too cold, too late.
Mhm.
The other thing I'd recommend is they make sure, because I look at them all the time, string lights for different stuff. And I would do the LED commercial string lights, which they come in like larger spools.
Mhm.
And that way, they'll
And they
last
last
for like
longer.
100,000 hours, and they're the ones where you can break a bulb and you still light up.
Oh, right.
I would do
Memorial.
that. Yeah, I would, and it would
we did the whole like stores, Elk Rapids and Rapid City, all the entire exterior for not much of a cost going through Gilroy's at some discounted rate,
Okay.
so.
That might be something, you know, if you wanted to kind of head that up, I'll give you
Yep.
Maggie's letter here, and it's got her phone number and email.
Okay, great.
And, you know, that would be awesome, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Okay,
I don't
so
know.
Kelly's gonna do that?
Yeah, I don't think we need to have necessarily a vote on that or anything, it's just a discussion. Actually. Kelly, I'm gonna give you that here. For some reason, it didn't turn out the date, so I don't know exactly. the date.
Well, if we can do that, why don't we, the auction's this Saturday, the silent auction. We can just have the chamber and do something during that, since you got 100 captive people.
And
Saturday
put it
night.
out,
And like announce that that's what we're doing?
yeah.
Yeah. And try and get money right then and there, while everybody's in a good mood. We'll just do a surcharge if you bid on an auction item, you have to pay $5 for that.
Who's putting that out for the chamber?
Huh?
Kelly, did you wanna,
So you wanna, I mean, let the
I'll
chamber know.
let the chamber know.
Yeah.
yeah.
let
Yeah,
them
make sure it's, you know,
let them know ahead of time?
Okay, I'll get ahold of Susie.
They're easy.
Alright, and that's all I have for correspondence. And we're on the committee reports, and I don't think the steering committee met this last month. Okay, I just got you some stuff, so,
Okay.
and we can coordinate sometime and chit chat about it. Moving on to old business, I do not have anything under old business. On to new business. Public hearing is October 23rd at 7 p.m. I thought we should have a discussion about it before it actually happened. And I'm not sure the format of how it goes, and I'm gonna defer to Mr. Kruse. Have you put on a public hearing before?
You open a meeting and we'll have a discussion.
And does everybody come up to the mic, like one at a time?
I don't think we need to do that personally. Some people don't like to speak to the mic.
Who runs the meetings, since we're putting on for us, is it
We're not putting on the meeting, the public, the entity, the municipality does that.
Mr. Okay,
So the village will put on the meeting,
okay.
Is it during regular, it's not during regular meeting hours,
No.
it's a special meeting?
special meeting, is it 7 p.m.?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think we should all probably be there, although I don't know.
Anybody plan on not being there?
I won't be there, I'll be
Okay.
out of state.
Okay.
Guys?
October 23rd, 7 p.m.
This isn't comment time, Joe.
May I speak in this?
You go ahead.
As a recommendation, it might be good for you guys to maybe appoint a couple of people to speak on behalf of the DDA if we refer questions to you guys. That way you don't have an entire board trying to answer a question, or whatever. You have specific people that speak for the DDA.
Oh, and I agree with you, and I wouldn't mind doing that myself, just because I've been involved with so much of this, and we can have that discussion. You know, Ken will be there.
I think that's the best way to do it, is somebody's a spokesman, and then if you need to refer to one of us for some
Yeah.
additional information, just.
I
Hey,
say,
who's that that we talked
yeah,
about?
you and somebody else.
Me and somebody else, Mr. Corbett here might be a good candidate for speaking.
Yeah, I'll just make it short,
Ah,
which would be
really?
very rare. Well, Matt, it's like, have you ever done deposition?
No.
No. Yeah, it's the same thing.
If,
Just answer the question, don't expand upon it.
if
Yes,
I
and
may,
no's and move on.
if I may make
Yeah.
a recommendation, as the hearing begins or whatever, and if there's an opening statement that you're going to make and running through things, I think it's extremely important to address the public notice that was sent out to the entire community about specifically the displacement, so on and so forth. That was all part of the legal jargon per se of what had to go out there, but I think that it's important to acknowledge the fact that that is, you
Not the
know,
intention.
that's a legal, you know,
Legal
description
definition.
Or the
of
boilerplate.
how, yeah. but there's, absolutely no,
alleviate fear and refocus
Yeah.
back on the actual.
Yeah, I think before
But
it
I-
even becomes part of the battle, people can just drop it then before you
you need
engage.
to address it.
So I think anything that was big time concerns that rumor control,
Mm-hmm, right.
to squash it in your opening statement. And then, like you said, then open it up, and then you probably won't get as many. Because some of them are pretty common, I can understand, some people like take it verbatim.
Yep.
And, where I wouldn't, but, because it's boilerplate.
Yeah.
You know.
Verbatim said, go see the master, or go see the plan.
It did say go see the
People
plan.
took it the way they wanted to take it, but you're right, we'll just deal with it right from the beginning.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea.
Absolutely.
I don't know if any other real concerns with it, I've not heard anything in terms of anybody having really any issues with it.
That was the biggest one I heard.
Yeah.
Just so I'm tracking, the point of the meeting obviously is to get out information and answer any questions, and that's it, like I guess our end goal or agenda or whatnot, the point of the meeting. It's like opening up to,
Is there a vote, or,
No.
yeah,
It's just a public hearing.
just to inform the public.
Yep, answer questions.
Give an
So
opportunity.
we're required to, whatever comments come in, we're required to keep a record of. So if someone sends emails or makes comments there, we note that, right?
I don't know if it's required, because there's no vote, so it's just a hearing. I don't know if there's
Well,
a.
it is, I've got the act here.
It says hearing, and I think, yeah, I was thinking more.
I should reread that, because I've not looked at that yet.
It is,
I
it
can
is.
see
So that's
how
what I'm
that-
saying, I mean, if
see how
people
that would
send,
make
I mean,
sense.
say someone comes and
Well,
gives
we
a
need to keep
brilliant,
track of it.
thought about the plan, do we incorporate it then, or do we all come back here and talk about it, or do we decide at the village council meeting that, yeah, that's a great change, or that's a bad thing, or that's what I wanna know, how we're gonna incorporate public comment.
Is technology
Wait.
taking that over to where you can just do because we record these meetings, right? Is that something people just go in that and refer to, or do we refer them to a document, or do you have to,
Print a bunch of-
put it in writing?
My opinion would be you don't have to put it right, because no
The
decisions are
government-
made.
The governing body shall make and preserve a record of the public hearing, including all data presented thereat. Does that mean
Okay,
public's
so they
emails, or?
they bring information forward to present before the board. I think questions and answers would,
Yeah. Is
uh,
that orally or written? You know what I mean? I don't know what the.
It's gonna be data we present in the DDA, not what the public brings.
okay.
There's no decisions made, so as far as Open Meetings Act, all it's gonna say is you have to address when the meeting was and that there was public comment. What you choose to do beyond that is up to you.
So on behalf of, because the village, there's obviously all sorts of political whatevers. People have concerns on a variety of things. I think that it would behoove us to document anything sent to the DDA directly and any public comment, to have the secretary available
Absolutely.
and to document that and then to turn around and address that in our next DDA meeting.
That if it comes up again, or, down the road or something like that, or whatever.
Right.
And then the people that aren't there, we can be, hey, they talked about this at the meeting, something for the board members, keep them informed, and I totally agree.
And I found out that any public meeting you have, if you're open to giving them that period of time, which always should be a limited amount of time, because it gets pretty long-winded.
Is it limited to 3 minutes?
Is it for 3 minutes like every other meeting?
For public hearing?
It's whatever we determine it to be, I guess, in the
Oh,
public
okay.
hearing, which is something you should discuss. It's basically yours, the village has to do, but we're not
I
gonna
think,
make
I
a
think
vote
it follows the
on
same
this. There's no
format.
way.
I think it limits to 3 minutes.
3 minutes, I agree.
And then you say that in your opening statement, and we're gonna do it that way. And the point is, here's the deal, we don't have anything to where everybody goes, well, you refer to this, or go look at this, that kind of stuff. We can answer it, let's answer it right then and there, okay? Because then somebody goes, oh boy, there's espionage here, and somebody's trying to cover up something, which nobody has the intent. It's just some of the questions will probably be aggravating, and you just have to suck it up and give an answer. So.
Now, do we?
It's healthier, believe me.
We shouldn't have to provide copies of the DDA plan at there, or do?
Oh, I would have it out there, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was just thinking the printing alone is just
No,
huge.
And just make sure you address that all their comments are directed to the board or to you and Chris. We're not gonna have them sitting out the back having a conversation and pickering back, whatever it is, you know what I mean?
Right.
They speak to the board addresses it.
I would recommend perhaps to, is it available to the public right now, the DDA plan? It is.
Yeah.
To, you know, again, post that on Facebook, because Facebook has a really great, huge, I would say, very loyal following per se, for an audience, and encourage them to print it if they're planning on coming to the public hearing and have.
I think the village has put it out there, at least.
Yeah,
once.
I think it's also a great idea, because that way you'll know what's coming at you before the meeting starts.
It's on the village page.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's on the village page, but I would recommend promoting it, you know.
Are
Yeah,
we
me
ever
too.
gonna do a DDA Facebook page?
I think that's another discussion. another day.
It's been a year.
I don't know, but
Tell them, Lisa.
one step at a
Saying.
time. One step at a time.
It doesn't take anything to say, it doesn't take anything to set it up, but,
Second.
So, we're going
I
to
second.
address the public notion. I didn't hear the motion, sorry. Address the public notion, the public beforehand, limit to 3 minutes, post to Facebook.
Post to Facebook and address the concern of displacement in that whole disclosure.
I'm good with all that. We're gonna limit them to 3 minutes. Copies of the plan, how many copies should we make? Cause that's a 12-page plan, I don't remember now.
I'd recommend 25 if you need to use our facilities.
10 pages.
Double sided?
Oh, yeah, we can do double sided.
Double
10 pages double sided?
If it helps to offset the cost, you can use the store's printer, it's not a problem.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, figure it out. So I wanna know how many to do.
Got
So
a
you
big meat stain on the page.
Yeah,
think 25
a
copies.
nice
is
little,
really
you know,
Smells like
Visit
hamburger.
village market on the top of the land.
It smells like hamburger.
thank you for shopping local,
We have scented paper,
right?
good. What,
It'd be like a watermark on all of them. Village market, village market.
is there anything else that we need to discuss regarding that?
I don't know really what all is gonna come up, so
It's difficult to
I
tell.
think the
that's fine.
Facebook thing, you'll get plenty of comments for that. The other thing is that posting, anybody know how the posting's going with the, being at the open space? But anybody got any comments on,
I heard a couple people say they liked having stuff there.
when you're walking down the street, just kinda check it out? 'Cause I don't know how many people actually have
The one
access
thing
to video.
the one thing I can think of that's an issue is water's getting inside there.
Yes.
And so I wonder about putting a strip over top of it, like a little roof, like a little,
Yeah, he made one.
okay. Because it looks like it's, water's seeped in from the top and it was raining or something. And, that's the only thing I can see.
On the glass thing?
Yeah, it's on the inside, the paper's
Put
gonna
into
get
the
wet.
DPW so it doesn't rain there. No more rain.
What comments are you gonna bring? Just one sent to the DDA email or the village email, as far as the public hearing?
Well, as far as comments, yeah, that's all we have really, we've discussed the plan
I mean,
ourselves.
but people send them and where they're
Are
gonna
you-
send them to.
It's-
I don't wanna hear every Facebook comment in a public hearing, is what I'm saying. So you put, I want you to
I
come.
don't think that we should even,
I'm
I
not,
think if someone wants to make a comment, they should send an email officially. I don't think we should
That-
monitor
okay, that's what I'm
Facebook like
saying.
that at all.
That's
That's
what I'm saying.
not,
Let's not bring a bunch
I
of
mean,
that.
we
yeah,
could
no, I
maybe
would,
take a
Just
printing
one.
for our records, but I wouldn't
I'd have them send it to the
Go
official
there.
DDA at
Or
centrallakemi.org.
to the village.
on
Yeah.
the village.
Yeah.
Good, just
Or the
put that
village.
in,
Yeah.
mhm.
you do Facebook, just say it.
Yeah, that's,
I mean, Facebook is a great way to get out the information
Right.
out to people, but I don't, even as a, you know, as a business, it's hard to take that in as a direct source in some cases.
Yeah.
So,
No, but
so-
it'll give us an idea what people are gonna be concerned about before we get there, so, you know,
Right,
as long as
when
it's
you
posted
read
there,
it,
we can see what people are thinking and whatever,
Right.
so we are
But
prepared before we get there.
if people have comments that they want to be
Official
addressed and they don't
comments
wanna
need to
come
be,
to the
yeah.
mic, they need to know that they need to send it to, you know, whatever, and I would post that paper-wise, and I would post that Facebook-wise.
Has anybody received any comments that haven't gone to that email? I mean, has anybody, I've not gotten anything directly, I've had some people talk to me a little bit, but nothing directed at this, none that I should forward on necessarily.
I'll be sending you a bunch of English corrections on, on the TIF
That's
plan,
fine.
but haven't yet.
Is the public
You have a lot of
hearing
time.
all-
Sorry?
Is the public hearing noticed? I'm looking at the 1975 Act again, it says posted in 20 conspicuous places.
That was the village's
20?
do, not ours.
20,
That was the village's.
that would be every store in town,
It
right?
would kill my room.
At
Not
least.
necessarily at every store, it could be at other places besides store, post office.
Well,
Well, yeah,
you
they
know,
could have run all the places in town if you need
Have you
20 of them.
seen?
What?
Oh,
There's a bunch-
pumpkin.
If it's posted, if the public hearing is posted in 20 places.
That's the village's job to handle that, and I made them aware of that part of the act.
Have some sugar. Sweeten it up a little bit.
I am.
All right, is there anything else regarding the public hearing then? All right, let's move on then.
That's what I think of that too.
You're lucky it was what it was. Downtown park rules. I had this on there, and I've forgotten my rules from Thurston Park, I think. But we said last month that we were gonna discuss
Yeah.
the rules down there, and so I added that to the agenda as well.
My only comment on that is because Thurston Park is not part of the DDA, I don't see it as being a relative topic.
I think it was to use some of the rules. to-
Park downtown.
Yes, the park downtown.
Thurston Park?
I'm sorry, did I?
Open
Oh.
space, what he's talking
Open
about.
The open
space.
space,
Open
I'm sorry.
space.
Yes.
Okay.
He was
All
gonna
right.
use similar rules from Thurston
Thurston
Park
Park, yes.
for the
Okay.
rules
I
at the
probably
park.
misspoke, I apologize.
No cussing, no drinking, no. No
I
crowd.
can't guarantee any of that. I would like to just propose something, it's not part of the rules, but it's an idea, and it doesn't have to be whatever, but, I'm a big art prize person. I'm going for my second time this week, to tour around Grand Rapids, and it's really, just as I was leaving Grand Rapids, my condo development that's retail and residential was part of that, and I was sitting on the board and allowed Art Prize to be part of that. Needless to say, it's grown to be the largest art exhibit in the world, that obviously many places are coming to. Elk Rapids has since turned around a completely dead park, an open green space that's not been used, that I used to go as a child, and now that's an art park in Elk Rapids, so you can walk around for free. And so my suggestion, just in the downtime of things, is to perhaps open it up to artists, because we've looked at musical artists to be able to perform there, but what about other artists, like your Ironworks art, you know, who
Lisa
works-
Miller, what's that, Parkside?
yeah, or Art, who's right behind Brownwood, to take an exhibit that he would do, or a
Right.
couple exhibits, and allow them to put their things out
Yeah.
with some sort of an advertisement, which would give people something to look at, not charge them rent per se, but it would give people something to go and go, oh, look at that bird, or whatever.
No, I think that might be a really good idea, I like it. I talked to, and we're playing phone tag right now, the art teacher at Central Lake Schools about maybe painting that wall of patents. We have permission from patents to paint that.
Yep.
And so I've yet to actually discuss it with her, but we've been playing phone tag for a few days.
Okay.
And actually painting the wall in there, and I think putting art through there would be a really neat idea.
There's a really cool exhibit I'll show you guys.
As long as it's open.
This was made by a third grade elementary school in Muskegon, and it's called I Love My Beautiful Brain. and it's like made out of like jelly beans and pennies and like all sorts of like ABCs and things.
That's really fun.
It is ugly, but it's also beautiful. When you look at it,
Way to go, Chris.
when you look at it, then you can see what it's actually made out of.
This
It.
is
But
your brain
it's,
on drugs,
this
right?
thing was,
Yeah.
right?
Well, it-
But it's like, it was like
Where are the
8 feet
cookies?
tall.
Lansing.
But it gave the kids something to work together
So
for.
we engage more kids, you know?
I mean, it's
instead of
taller
just
than
having
me.
one
Oh,
kid
wow.
Look
they
at
can all
that. That's really
contribute to
cool.
it.
That's a lot of work in that. That is neat. I like
Like
it.
third graders?
Yeah, third graders in Muskegon. So anyways, when I go back, I'll vote for them, but look at that.
Beautiful.
And then, yeah, so there's all different ways then that you can engage your community and like, you know, whatever, if,
So something like that, is, you know, kind of part of maybe the rules,
I think that we
To
did,
incorporate
we
that
talked a little bit
open
about that,
at
but
some
it's also
point.
the,
Well,
but that somebody could come down and, you know, obviously let somebody know like a week ahead of time, you wanna set up for Tuesday evening to put your stuff out or
yeah.
whatever.
well, I think that requires having a calendar.
Oh, yeah,
And-
I think that's the
Well, we
biggest part of
intended
it.
on having a calendar
Sorry,
anyways,
MC.
because we were gonna do that for the entertainment.
Right, right. And I-
well, the biggest thing is for people to register to do that. In other words, okay, let's say that somebody just wants their, like, Steve Dawson wants to go there and just play music one night,
Right.
just for the heck of it. Kenny Thompson said he liked to just go there and just play music, put out a cup or something, you know? And then, just advertise it, and you put it on that board, or you can put it on whatever. But what I would do is I would restrict the times, like, you know, like 5 to 8, so you don't disturb all the people around all the houses and stuff like that. And then I think that it'd be really great for, Rachel to keep the calendar of it, and that way.
Cory asked me and I agreed.
Yeah. Thank you, Rachel.
You're welcome.
And that,
Thank
so
you.
what happens is if the calendar is there, that somebody can say, I want on this night, you gotta know it's already booked, because,
Right, keep it organized and
yeah.
allow people their own space.
I have like 4 conference rooms in my office in building Virginia. We have it all digital though. It says who's in session, who's up next. The conference. But no, I think, no, seriously, if that's something as simplistic as that, and just, we ought to just make some laminated sign to say what the basic rules are. You know, you bring you have to clear it out at 8 o'clock that night, after everything's done. For the next person, you don't wanna leave stuff there for days and stuff like that, do you?
If it's art, I would leave it there for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah, just be a
Yeah.
small space.
But what if,
Yeah.
I mean,
But,
Well, if
Play-
some
playing
art or
devil's
somebody
advocate, what
comes in and
happens if-
damages the art, so
somebody-
that we're
yeah.
not in trouble.
Yeah,
yeah,
everything's-
you can make a basic liability thing of like,
Yeah,
that's up
we're
to
not
them.
responsible for
Yeah.
your, but it could be a good use of whatever we decide to do with the green space that's being donated by the bank, too, you
Yeah,
know?
that's a nice big area.
And that's a nice big area, and so it's just something to think about
Oh,
that.
I think it's great.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
anybody who wants to go there and do
Oh.
anything, they should, because you still want part of the town, you want people to stay involved, and then you wanna bring, business to the town, right? So,
And Elk Rapids has trash formations, I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's a green recycling event where businesses take all their cans from Gordon Food Services and cardboard boxes and anything, and they can make art out of it, and then there's a tour. And then the school, you know, different classrooms and stuff, they might make a poster that'll go in an empty building, store window type of thing. Those are all being voted on, but that happens every year in like May. And I ended up building like a huge castle out of boxes, cardboard boxes that you could walk through and stuff. And it set up for about a week, and then my dad got mad that we killed the grass underneath it. So we had to take it down before the thing was over with, but, you know, believe me, that if we had something cool like that where businesses could actually take their waste and make it into some sort of recycled art, it gets your employees engaged, it gets people excited to come, it shows that you're doing things that are helpful for the environment. Those are all things that we can take a look at using some of these spaces, not to mention our own storefronts and opportunities, to just bring that visual effect to
I
people.
think it's a good idea, because what good does it do to make the space and not
Use it.
show what it could be used for, and start, if we show a couple things, maybe somebody else will come up with something.
Mhm.
Do we have to do all that before we start? If we got a couple of good days here, because like I said, Kenny Thompson and Steve Dawson, and a few others said they'd love to play there.
No, that's great.
I
I
bet
I
I'd
go with,
Book it.
I go with music,
Look at Dana.
music
Do
now.
something with spend an evening in Central Lake. The more people you can put into
Yeah.
that town to listen to Kenny or to Steve is gonna shop at your store. They're gonna shop, go to Cory's and
Yep.
or Bachman's, Fudgy's, whatever. I think that's great. A movie night in there. I've been advocate of that with
project
Cory
your
for a
screen
long
on
time on that back wall. I think would be a great
I
thing to do.
have a projector, so we already talked about it.
I think there's a lot of opportunities for that there, but I think you really need to get into the planning of that to really.
Nope,
What
it's
about it?
Joe Halloween, he's just coming up with all my
It's
ideas
it's
before
all
we-
ready.
before we get
That's
to
how I do
them.
is plug the projector. Even the speaker wire.
Cory, I've done so much research on the movie night, I think you can get these big blow up screens even.
I know.
Just put air to them and there's your screen. You guys got a nice wall on that back end of that there, so.
Can I suggest you might want to think about something for window night?
It's on, actually, we labeled it Halloween, but it was kind of along the same idea.
And I've got a bunch of props, so we can have like, I've got,
Your employees are not props.
we have, because we're not doing the haunted house anymore, what I did is we gave some of them to the Masons, which are gonna have their own haunted house, but then I have some really big ones, like I have Jason. And they're all motion control.
Mhm.
So if you walk by, the sword comes down and scares the shit out of little kids, which is really cool.
That's worth the thing for right
That's
now.
the fun stuff.
Yeah, lots of things like that, yeah. So anyhow, I have some props we can stick up there for the night. We got witches that do all kinds of.
Let's get to that when we get to, let's do that when we get to F, so we can finish the downtown park rules. So for now, do you wanna just put up a sign that says it needs to be booked with the village council, or the village office? And maybe put the village office's phone number down, and put no drinking, no swearing, no spitting.
I think it's pretty much just the same rules.
Same, the rules are the same for.
I think we just gotta make up a sign, just post it on the wall there.
You'll just put it in a little, in the area there. Alright, I'll do that, I'll I'll make the sign.
I would recommend wall posting based on the
Yeah.
fact that the other one got stolen or whatever.
Another DDA,
Yeah.
Put this one right on the.
I'm sure they're not reusing the sign, so.
Yeah, what are they doing with it?
Not
Is
that
it
this-
sitting in somebody's backyard?
That's
Could be a
probably
dartboard.
one of the dumpsters around
Dartboard.
Wow.
How do you plan on bringing it together? If the village office is taking reservations and booking things, how do you plan to bring that together to the DDA and keep the DDA informed that if Rachel takes a reservation or somebody, say Kenny Thompson wants to play, and she says, yeah, go ahead Thursday.
Does she have
Kenny's gonna just show up Thursday, start playing music, and you guys are gonna have no idea?
Do you have?
How are you gonna bring
Why
it
do we
together?
need
How are
to
you
know?
gonna tie it?
Why do we need to know?
Why wouldn't you wanna know?
I don't know.
And
Well,
we'll use technology to figure that out.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
you
we
want
put it on
to
Amazon.
plan to bring that all
Like a month
together and
out.
tie it together, so
It's not like
everybody.
Google
Send the ring
Calendar
down.
that you
Hold
can
on,
subscribe to
hold on.
or whatever.
Okay.
Let's bring it back, Chris?
You can have it on an Outlook, and then have it ping everybody when scheduled.
Corey and I use a lot of Google Calendar to
Google
keep track of what we've
Calendar.
got
Same
going.
thing.
And
Same
we
thing.
just,
We can
yep,
look at it
we
at
just
our
send it
leisure.
out.
Corey said he volunteered to set that up for you, so it'd be no problem.
I can set a calendar for that, that's easy, and we can put it on a website.
And then you just.
And
put
then you
on-
have it so that everybody on the board gets an email notification
Or they can look on the
or
calendar.
whatever.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yes, for content.
And I don't know that we necessarily need to know of every little thing going on.
I don't know, I think, and that's what I'm saying,
Well,
is
if
if
you
you
wanna
make it
build a plan
available to
around
the
something,
public for read only, right?
Right.
And then they look at it,
They can see
right?
what's available.
They can see there's a conflict, so they don't bother her all the
They
time.
can see the
Right.
calendar.
Yeah,
In
they
other
know
words,
where else.
she don't wanna be
Yeah,
called and
something
somebody
Yeah.
keeps, then she's gonna handle conflicts. She would much rather
Yeah, you can
I'm
set
sure.
that up.
just, somebody calls up and say, I see that Saturday, the whatever, okay, nobody took it, you're cool.
Alright. Kelly?
Yeah, I wanna thank you for that comment, because I think that was really good as far as streamlining it in. I think that helps bring that awareness. That's very valuable, thank you. I would say that, are you in charge, Rachel, of the Facebook whatever for the village. So it would make sense that if you're the one booking it, if you find something, you know, Kenny Thompson says they can play on Thursday, that then you post it on behalf of the village, because really we're all one, right? And so then just, again, a common courtesy email out to the DDA members, hey guys, just let you know, Kenny Thompson's booked Thursday, you know, whatever, please feel free, please spread it on. You know, I posted, and then that would help just kind of bring us all together. So that way that communication-
Kenyon can open up later of the evening or stay open later.
Right, that
You
was
could
what I
have
was gonna
sodas
say.
out in front of your store, or you could, I mean, it gives you guys the opportunity to build off of it and have prior knowledge of it happening is all.
Yeah, yeah, I like that thing.
And I think having another name for it, like Bachman's Open Space or something, or Alden Bank's Open Space or something, since they both were nice enough to donate it. I think
Yeah.
you'll have to, and it'd be easy to designate it then, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of just calling it
The
Open
DDA
space between
space.
Bachman's and Patton's.
Yeah, maybe name it.
Yeah, name it,
I
yeah.
think Blackman's is fair.
Yeah, I think Bachman's is good.
I think I'd ask for first.
We'll get to that.
I think that she'd love to have it.
Yeah, well,
No joke.
All right, so
I'm
we'll
fine
we'll
with
use
it.
the same park rules that Thurston Park has.
See about setting things up through Google Calendar. so
And if
everybody
plagiarize that,
knows.
we have permission to.
And I'll post those down there, and then I'll also make sure that, I'll set up another Google Calendar for Rachel, it'll be easy.
And I
And I'll-
can put those rules on the DDA page as well.
we can use the exact same rules for baby, because some of them
No,
probably
maybe-
don't pertain
maybe
to what
not.
I'm
Well,
saying.
yeah, we don't,
Well,
Like,
we
don't
can
swim it
start-
off the dock or something, looks like the open space.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
let's just not copy
There is
it.
a-
off the dock.
Let's just,
There is a band platform there, maybe
You know what I
that's the dock.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I
Come up
think
with
we
it.
do whatever.
Pick pertinent ones and
But
move
Rachel
on,
made a
right?
good point that she will go ahead and post on the DDA page for the, you know, village, that the rules are duplicate to Thurston. Thank you.
I'll set you up an email
Online,
too, that you
too.
can send it to one email address, and I'll hit everybody on the board. And that way you don't have to remember to type in everybody every time. All right, so, we're done with downtown park rules.
Cool.
Does anybody else have anything else they wanna add? All right, I don't think there's anything there really to vote on. On the FOIA request, this was put on at the request of the village. I think all FOIA requests have to go through Rachel, as far as FOIA requests. But if you're part of the board, you should just contact us directly, meet myself or the secretary actually, and the secretary will get you the information that you need.
No, but who keeps track of the FOIA here? The village isn't gonna keep track of everything that goes on the DDA in case somebody FOIAs it. So where's she
Right.
gonna go to get this information that gets FOIA'd?
She should go to the secretary.
So everything's gonna go through the secretary, or everything's gonna go through the chair?
I don't know, I guess which
Well,
which
no,
makes more
that's
sense.
what we're gonna decide, because I am not having my personal emails FOIA'd.
Right.
So any, I'll just say right now, any email that comes to me through the DDA because of what happened, I will not accept, I will block it.
Right.
Okay? So emails need to go through the DDA email, or it's hard to track and it creates a huge mess. So we can't be sending emails out to everybody at large, personally,
Right.
and tying them in through the DDA. That's my opinion, I just think it's, we've gotta get, but the village doesn't track that, so that's why it has to go somewhere here, so if somebody wants to FOIA something, Rachel knows where to go get the information from. We can't,
Sure.
she can't find information she doesn't have. So someone at the DDA has to decide where that information is.
So it makes sense to
Go
move
to.
forward with that DDA email, that,
There's already one set up,
There's one
correct?
set up, yeah.
that's it for the point of contact, and then, I don't know, if she would need contact or just get in touch with myself that would run it to give you the information back. I mean, yeah, I agree with exactly what you're saying.
Yeah. Me too.
Okay, my only concern though is like Cory, and for whatever it's worth, like you mentioned, please don't email me through the DDA, email me direct.
I know,
And so, in order to keep things in line with, for whatever it's worth, and I'm not criticizing or whatever, I'm just saying that if we're gonna go to our personal emails versus does it make sense to have us each have our own DDA email? Cause like for me, for Village Market, I have everything, anybody that wants to contact me, anything community related, whatever, they all get my KC Young at Bill Market. They don't get my other
one.
Yahoo email,
Right.
which is, as soon as if I were to leave Village Market tomorrow, then I can say, here Kev, you get all the Casey Young,
Right.
it goes to you now, and now my email still. But I don't have to change that, so it's just food for thought that,
We can set up individual email accounts that are just DDA, you know, it could be, you know,
That just get
Kelly
streamlined right
at
into your-
centralakemi.org, or kellydda.dda at centralakemi.org. That wouldn't be a problem, then they'd keep it out of his personal. We talked about this almost a year ago.
I mean, it'll still go
And-
into your personal, which is what I prefer, versus checking 5 different email
Well, and
accounts.
then that becomes kind of
Right,
a
you
problem.
just map it.
But wouldn't
Right.
it be that whoever sends something to the DDA email, then in themselves interns FOIA for them?
Well, what the problem becomes when, let's say I'm doing business on my personal account, my
Right.
Mission Computers account. If I don't go ahead and just delete stuff as I'm finishing up, they can FOIA my personal account.
No, they can't.
Yeah, I think they can.
Yes, they
No.
can.
No.
Yes, they can, I'm looking at it right now,
Yep.
yes, they can.
You can FOIA information that's related to DDA, you can't FOIA go in through
Well,
his.
not his personal emails, but if he's using his personal email to discuss DDA business, it can be FOIA.
Right.
Yes.
So would anybody that sends to the DDA themselves, their information would be FOIA as well? Does it work reverse?
Well, no, we're appointed, and
Yeah,
if somebody, if a resident does it, we can't FOIA a resident, and then just,
Okay, that's where,
You finish that video, that's fine.
scared her apparently.
So anyways, I would recommend perhaps for correspondence to be done, you know, in a streamlined effort, that board member, I would make a motion that all board members have a separate account,
DDA email.
a separate DDA email, and make it as seamless as possible, so that way,
And that's just to be used for our internal communication, because anything official needs to come from the main DDA account, I think.
right.
And all correspondence from the public should also go to that main DDA account. So as long as that's the case, I would second that.
So who's gonna set up all these DDA accounts?
I mean, I don't feel like,
I'll do it for free.
you
We'll
know,
find the free ones.
Okay.
if Chris wants to email me and say, hey Kelly, what we talked about the other night at the DDA meeting, whatever is BS, you know, and he wants to send that to my, you know, whatever, my DDA email, that's his choice.
For a good time, for a good time,
Knowing that, but then he'll know if he wants to, you know, email for a good time, he can just email my personal email. And I'll tell him to, you know, figure something out.
The village council tried individual emails for each different person, or trustee. It really didn't work, because you got trustees or people who just don't check their emails, and then you have questions or comments that are sitting out there unanswered. If the Joe public wanted to get a hold of,
Well, that's the thing, we wouldn't want it to be, we just want it for internal communication.
But the thing is though,
But you could
through
call
our
on the phone, it's
smartphones
easy.
though, you can attach all of those accounts into your email. So
So you don't have to check
when
a
you get a
separate
new
account.
Right.
email, it's gonna show,
I've got,
you got one and it's going to your Gmail. I mean, you'll be able to see,
I've got 3
This
email
is going to
accounts running on my
Gmail.
one.
and not to my Yahoo or
Right.
whatever, so
Right, so I think that would be a.
I think
a good
all
way
of
to-
us have
The only one that
smartphones here.
wouldn't check them on a regular basis is Randy.
Well, yeah, and if, you know, it doesn't matter if he doesn't check it or not, because we're still communicating right now. If he's not checking his email, he's not, you know, he
well,
doesn't
you
know.
can, you can call them or talk to them. if
Yeah,
you're not
just
getting
like
back
we do
to them.
anyway.
But public is just the DDA. email.
Nothing will change other than the address we're
But that
communicating
would-
from, because because we're sending, if we send out email, it just makes it so that our personal stuff isn't foilable. Someone's not gonna come in and go to Cory at missioncomp.com and I wanna see everything from the DDA out of that account. Well, that's, we eliminate that as being even a possibility. So I think we've got a motion and a second.
And I would include Rachel on it, considering that she is also being, you know, as part of that distribution per se for the DDA.
Just for internal communication, you mean?
Yeah, for internal, you know, so if I wanna hit mass to all or whatever, then she's gonna get copied on it. just as
the
much as
village email,
anybody
right?
else is here. You know, if she doesn't wanna read it or whatever, that's one thing, but,
I don't wanna clutter up her inbox either necessarily, but is it
but it's not gonna go to her inbox, she's gonna have her own separate inbox, just like
for that?
we all will.
Okay. I'll work it, I'll help set that up. So we got a motion and a second, and all in favor of setting up separate email accounts, just for internal communication? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, we'll just go ahead and do that.
Some of them will be free accounts, not mi.org
We'll-
costing
Figure it out.
accounts.
It'll be missioncomp.com.
Not that I'm against it, we just wanna have to make sure that we put, no, I don't.
You probably want one of those missioncomp.com.
All the rage.
Alright, so that deals with FOIA requests essentially, so that as far as any FOIA requests that come into the village office, they should go through the secretary, I think.
Is there something that, yeah, that main open DDA, account, yeah.
I would go so far, honestly, Cory, to say that instead of Mission Comp and attaching your business name to it, just like I wouldn't ask to ask.
I was being
Bill
facetious when I said
Market
that.
to it, would be CLDDA
Yeah.
dot
I'll donate $10
whatever.
to come up with a domain name and set up email addresses for everybody, I mean, it's not that big
And
a deal.
then,
It's not.
We'll be able to make
set up
that,
our own website.
at some point we
eventually.
could if I bought a domain name, so I'll look into that, I'll send out an email to everybody.
I would make a motion to pay the $10 fee or whatever to set up a
10 or
domain name for the DDA. I think that would make a lot of sense.
I'll second that.
Alright, all in favor?
So who motioned it?
Yeah, I did.
Cory motion.
So we'll set up a domain name, do we have a particular one, we want cldda.org.gov?
Talk about that.
Talk whichever one you can get.
It will depend on that, but.
Yeah, we'll leave it up to you.
I'll find out what's available, talk about it offline, come to,
Awesome,
CLDDA.
I
clpeople.org.
think,
Awesome, see
just
how
make,
people.
just make it easy, will you?
Yeah, we'll keep it simple.
Don't go Hunt 4796. Dash.
I've seen those. Alright, so that takes care of that. Then we'll move on to funding sources, because there are a couple comments that I've seen, it's been brought to my attention that, this DDA, this TIF plan that we've got put in place, that's not gonna fund a whole lot for the first 10 or 15 years, if it even gets to that point where it's funding a whole lot. So we need to discuss other avenues to pursue, money from, for our plan that we put together. And we've got 5 particular projects, I think, 5 or 6. And one of the things, I went to that crowdfunding seminar back, I don't know, last week, and that looks like a viable option for funding some things. There's 2 different types of crowdfunding. There's what's called investment crowdfunding, is what this seminar was all about, and it's only ever been done one time in Michigan right now. And then there's the other type of crowdfunding, which is rewards-based crowdfunding. And that is, you donate $20, get a t-shirt. And you donate $50 and you get a t-shirt and a backpack, or, whatever it is. And then there's different rewards for different levels of donation. I can see that maybe being for a couple of the different projects that we have going there, but I think we really need to pursue, look at grants and stuff like that. I don't know, I just wanted to talk about it because I know this might be a subject that comes up during the public hearing. Because looking at the TIF, it assumes a 3% increase every year, and I don't know if we'll even get that.
so, you've talked about a few things, and we actually, we talked to Nancy about grants, before. So that's kind of one of the options. Other options people have been kind of thinking about in the past month or two, or,
My personal opinion is that when we look at funding sources, we need to look at what exactly it is we're trying to fund. And first, we need to look at partnering with the chamber and saying where their funding sources are. And we need to join hands with them as much as possible. Not saying that it needs to become a chamber-related event, but that without the chamber, we're nothing, really, because for me now, anytime I go to travel to any community, anywhere, I pull up that chamber. And I look at all of the businesses that I can go stay at, all the B&Bs, and so on and so forth, that are people that I can go and support them versus the corporate Holiday Inns and so on and so forth. Personally, I find that a much better thing. I also, and this is something that I mentioned about a year ago, is that I'm hearing rave reviews from communities that are using Pure Michigan as in how you're spending your money. And if you're going to make one event, make it great, because that's what's going to make people come back. Don't make 5 little ones that you're gonna have to keep raising money for and work really hard for. Pick one, and maybe that's what you team up with the chamber, and that's what you use your local businesses to help fund, just like the Christmas tree lights thing. We can easily put out little canisters at the store for fireworks to raise money like we do for Elk Rapids.
They used to do that, I don't know.
Yeah,
Fireworks
but
got taken down because there was others, people who were ill, there'd be 3 different cans sitting at the corner store, so the chamber just took them out and put them at,
Oh.
And
You know,
they
collecting
did
it,
it, and I think they got
football
told like
games.
16 bucks or something.
yeah.
so the bottom line is that it just doesn't make sense to me, as we're looking at funding sources, to do anything outside of working with the chamber. And
They're not
events,
really a funding source.
Well, my
though.
question was, does anybody know the finances of our chamber?
I
You
know
say we're gonna look for funding, where are they at right now?
So
Not for
the
funding, I think
chamber
that's
gets
just-
money from
Share,
annual dinner each year.
Yeah.
So we're not pursuing grants per se, we're just getting money from the community.
Is the funding, I mean, is the chamber successful at fundraising right now?
I don't know,
Is
I
what
don't
I'm
have an
saying.
answer.
They
We're
seem to
looking
be
for
able to
funding sources
sustain.
That they paid for last year's fireworks.
They're not.
They're good questions, is what I'm saying, though, because if you're looking for funding and they're already in debt, it's a bad funding source.
well, yeah, and those are all
Yeah.
really good points. But as we're going out on the separate entity and we have X amount of dollars from the village and we need to whatever, and we're looking at doing our own events that we have on this timeline that's gonna go in front of the public hearing and, set forth that we're going to have X amount of events, it makes sense to me to, it's not like you have to go to the chamber and say, okay, we're gonna split proceeds or whatever, but I just wanna put that
Help
out there
sponsor
that
the
we're
event.
going to work together.
It's the same thing, we did the car show, anything that was excess went to Joel, okay? Over and above cost. So the car show really didn't donate anything to fireworks.
To the chamber.
Or the chamber. It went for all his time and effort to do it, and everything else went to the cost of it,
Well,
And so they're not really to build up, they try and build up, and they're really, the main thing is the fireworks.
they're so
And the
expensive.
auction is pretty much 60-70% of the fireworks.
Mhm.
But to say that, but the thing is by him saying it's a chamber event, it did help in the marketing
right.
of it.
Well, I'm not saying we should work with them, I'm just saying if we're talking about
Oh,
money, we
yeah, no, I
gotta be
think
realistic, and like you said,
The
that the
chamber
project's
doesn't,
$5,000, and
They're
that's what we need
they're
to
not
try
in to
to
raise that
finance
much
for,
money.
$5,000.
Yeah, they're not,
Right.
it's a
Right?
totally
We
different
gotta
outfit.
put the project
You're right,
first.
it's the marketing.
Then the funding.
Yeah, if we just add that to the marketing, it makes people come along.
Yeah.
And this plan is so general that, it doesn't including on the plan, we could partner with anybody we want. We
Mhm.
want to partner with the chamber, if we want to partner with the Rotary,
Masons
the
or
Masons.
anybody.
Anybody, we can go ahead and do that. It's general for a reason, so we could, when we get to the specifics, we can worry
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, I think that any event should try and invite all the other clubs. So what, we're doing something like carnival or something like that, brought to you by the Masons, Lions, and Tigers and Bears.
Right.
It's okay,
I think
because
everybody's on
everybody,
board with that.
because, then what you get inclusiveness of all the clubs who have members, even the VFW too, right? And so you throw them all in, Because I don't know how many times you see that on a big header, it's by 10 people, 10 different organizations to put on one thing, because they all have followings, and all of them have distribution lists of people who have supported them in the past, and like my list, I have a list of, I don't know, 4,000 emails that I send out for email blasts for when we have an activity or something.
Right.
The people who fill out forms and said they like to be notified of any weird things we're doing. So, and I'm willing to share that same list, you know.
Well, and as I look at funding sources,
And that's what we're
like,
doing for this thing Saturday night.
I don't think you meant per se to go to the chamber to get money, you're just saying that everybody works together, whether it's the chamber or the Mason, whatever
That's-
community.
Yeah, I
that's
think
my
result,
general
yeah.
thought. As far as funding, we have obviously lots of different corporate folks that deliver to us between our multiple businesses, Lapari, Pepsi, Coke, 7-Up. Pepsi has been very generous in donating pop. Heck, I even had the folks from Traverse City donate pop for an event that I did for a low-income neighborhood financial education that I did for downtown Grand Rapids, like 8 years ago, just via networking. And they donated a couple $100 worth of pop, just to, you know, get their name out there. So there's corporate sponsorships, there's, I think our local businesses and soliciting, hey, will you spend $1 for lights, or will you spend $1 for our upcoming
Right.
February
Well, I was
Valentine's
talking more on
Day?
the lines of what's in our plan, because that stuff is,
Already got some stuff we're focused on.
yeah, there's
In the
five,
future
there's
that we're
five,
looking to get funding for.
yeah, there's 5 things that are there along with the TIF plan, like like a parking study and that kind of stuff. I'm not gonna go to the pharmacy and ask them for $500 to fund a parking study necessarily, but that's something maybe we look at grants for.
But the issue that I have with crowdfunding in specific is it's an online avenue that people are having to go through PayPal and put in their credit card numbers. I'm not comfortable doing that even for $5, even though I'm using my online credit card number that only has $200 to it. But still, like, if we don't raise that money, we lose that money, and then that money goes to.
Depends on the one you use, but yes.
Right, so I know that there's a lot more information to it. I'm not opposed to looking at different crowdfunding
Well-
programs, but
What I kind of envision is maybe we should look first at grants. Like for these 5 projects, we should identify grants for each one of them, if there are any, and kind of go through each one and say, maybe there's multiple grants that apply. And maybe we go through and identify for those 5 projects, and then the matching part of that, we look at fundraising, and then we look at crowdfunding, we look at other options, like if we want to do, if they want to do restrooms downtown, and there seems to be a lot of support and a lot of conversation.
I gotta go wash up again.
There seems to be a lot of conversation around the restrooms. And if people really want it, and we can get grants for part of it, and we have to come up with money for the other part, then it's time for everybody to kind of show up and we do something to raise the money for it. And so
Right.
that's,
well, again, I kind of look back to our local businesses, and just as a business owner, through a variety of different efforts, it's not a problem for us to have the cashiers ask every customer, are you willing to pay $1 to have public restrooms in our local area?
Paid right there.
Right?
Prepaid.
yeah.
I mean,
I
seriously,
understand
because
what you're
they're the
saying.
ones that are going to be using it.
I know that the businesses get hit up a lot for everything all the
But
time.
we're not donating
The
directly out of our pocket, which, you know, I get 10 requests a week
Right.
from everybody from here to Gaylord.
Mhm.
So, you know, asking people that are coming in your store are also the ones that are the ones
Benefiting from,
using your restroom, possibly the ones that are going to be walking around the rest of the town and not feeling right, going in Adams, Madams, and going, do you have a bathroom? You gotta go.
She likes them.
Sure.
But for this public hearing that we're gonna have, is this something we should have some other sources identified ahead of time? Because people are gonna go, there's not money in here to fund this. That's one of the arguments that I'm sure we'll hear.
Just a suggestion on that part, because it's obviously a concern and there's a lot of different options out there, but for us right now, it's not really fair to pinpoint what we're gonna use for a lot of stuff. We can identify maybe 3 options:
We should explore it.
crowdfunding, granting, and local fundraising that we're gonna use. Do we know the absolute details and the dates of this stuff? No. We do know what grants, no, but it's avenues that we have to research and explore. And, I mean, it's not a time, it's not really fair to get all these details.
No, I would just find the one that's easiest, Mark, to get funds from.
Well, yeah.
Short's found it somehow.
It already says that in the development plan, all right? It
It
already
already
says
says
funding
that.
sources, so I think it's covered.
Yeah.
It's covered in-
Until we pick a project and say we need $24,000, we're not gonna go chasing a tail, we're gonna get it.
Right.
I mean, you have to understand that. Then we'll look to those sources we said, grants, private donations, corporate donations, fundraising events, whatever it may be. But until we pick the project, we just almost
It's
spend
too
our
hard,
time for nothing.
You're spinning your wheels.
Right,
You really are.
no, you're
So
right.
I thought I was saying it's in the plan.
Alright, so I
Yeah,
want to
those
just
options.
table it.
Okay.
But
I just kinda wanna,
No,
because
that's how I
it's
would
questions
explain
that
it
have
to
come
them.
up.
Then when we pick that plan, we will then track down the money. Of course, we can't, then reassure the public, you have no money to spend, so if you're worried about where you get the money, they shouldn't be worried about it because there's no money to spend right now. So of course you can go out and find it and raise it somewhere. You're not spending money they've already donated on something because there is
Just
no
not
money.
put the cart before the bullshit.
That's exactly right.
Then let's
Pick a
move on
project
then.
and
Alright, we'll table that, good. Let's go on next.
Election of officers, our bylaws indicate that we must elect officers once every year at the year mark, and that happens to be, last year it was September 29th, this is October 1st.
Why, do you Tom Kenyon and Randy Weiss, because they're on something already.
Well, I guess my suggestion, I mean, and I'd make the motion even that we just go ahead and keep things the way they are. I mean, I'm very happy helping out and doing what I do. I don't know about everybody else. I mean, that's
Yeah, I'm good. You have a vice chair for, oh, it's Tom.
Tom. Yeah, Tom, and then Randy's the treasurer, but we really haven't had much of that go on yet.
Yeah.
Treasurer duties are probably.
I want that job.
Yeah, just show up with, no, I think,
I'm okay with that.
yeah,
Kelly stepped out for a second. She's coming back.
revisit and
Thank you.
we're
Ah,
flexible.
you just got elected or something.
Yeah.
We were just talking that our bylaws indicate that we needed to, that we need to elect officers once a year. And I motion that, I would prefer to keep things the way they are, but it's up to everybody else.
I would second that motion.
Yeah.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. F, Halloween. I'm talking to Chris, he's got a projector and some speakers and stuff, and I thought it'd be kinda neat to throw up some Halloween cartoons on the wall during trick or treat night. And I found some really neat stuff from like the 30s, 40s, 50s, like Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck and.
The Great Pumpkin
It's a
Trailer.
great
Hey,
pumpkin
no.
trailer you can learn.
No, I think like Frankenstein and the
Yeah,
spider.
that's what I
I've got some of those
That's
too.
Jump Lake and
That could be after, like.
After 10.
Or after 10, I
When
will
the
apply.
library shut down
Yeah.
this year,
Oh, okay.
all you have to do is-
Frankenstein takes out a whole new meaning after 10.
For sure, the movie that we're not allowed to
Well,
show.
it was open
That's a
space,
good
so-
point.
Right.
If I,
But if it's in the
if
public domain,
What's
is
that?
it not public?
No, that's what I'm saying, if it's that's just
Ah,
clarify that it's not
What's that?
gonna get anybody in trouble.
I would,
The li,
Just
Just
saying
ask
happy
Becky.
birthday, if you do that and they know you did that, it's a copyright.
that's
You-
right,
You have to
it's
pay
a big deal,
royalties.
it's, so Becky would be the source to go
So
to
old
on that,
stuff
on
from
proper doing it.
I would think that it wouldn't be too difficult to probably string up
Borrow a movie from the
a bunch
library.
of like corn stalks and make a little maze to go around and a little witch and a little motion sensor and like actually get people engaged in that area. Let them walk around, make a little corn maze.
I
It's
got-
not
I
gonna be
got-
that tough.
I got a bunch of stuff that we're gonna, we got.
You got a bunch of scary stuff?
I really like that.
I got coffins, I got
Mickey
bodies
Mouse 30s and
popping.
40s stuff, I think
Yeah,
that's
the
great.
really old stuff that's in, that's on the public domain. I've been
People are
researching it.
trick-or-treating around,
Morning,
playing,
That's-
It's
It's
7,
all
8 minute clips, they're nothing like sitting down and watch a
G-rated
movie.
fun
But at the
stuff.
same point, if you want people to walk around the downtown area, are they gonna walk and stop and look at a projector, or they're gonna walk by it as the kids are all like, you know?
And that's why I didn't wanna do like a
Proper
full
treat.
length movie, like 7 or 8 minute clips and just have them on a rotation.
And we're doing the trunk or treat thing, and so,
Yeah.
yeah, the thing is I got a bunch of music and scary stuff that can be playing there, and like you say, we can throw some.
Decorations up.
Yeah, and the truth is, there's so much stuff on the internet that people have made that's scary stuff that's free. I don't think you're worried about, and besides that, nobody really cares about a small town picking up a little thing. If you did this like every week and had crowds of, like you're,
You made money off it, so.
You can't charge for it.
yeah, so I wouldn't worry about copyright stuff too much.
So what is the, what, may I ask what the tradition is, not having been here this time last year, for Halloween? Do the children go business to business trick or treating for safety? Okay.
Well, the whole town,
Okay.
the businesses, most of the businesses in town do it, runs from I think 5 to 8 or 5:30 to 8 or something like that.
Okay.
And we do a trunk or treat, that way like,
The little
the
kids.
people outside of town who would like to,
That's
whoever ever
really
people
cool.
come to, like, King
Like-
Orchard brings apples, somebody else does this.
Oh,
You know,
nice.
some of the farmers bring certain stuff, some individual people who love trick or treat, but their kids won't come down their driveway because they're scared. And so they do it from the, so last year when the weather was a little bad, we let everybody come up on the porch and we set up tables but normally it's in the parking lot. The weather's good.
Okay.
And then I think they're allowed, we say, come up to the porch and then there's like,
Which is cool.
10 people to trick or treat from, rather than just one business.
I think the village puts out cider and donuts.
I think that's the coolest thing
I
ever,
do
the
too.
trunk or treat, I really do.
That, again, that was another Robin Maggie
Yeah.
start, I believe,
Yeah.
from all there.
So, you know, the reason it's on here is this, I mean, do anybody wanna help do the Halloween stuff down there?
I personally would agree with MZ that doing a projector film on the side of the wall for the DDA is not necessary if there's something already here projected, if there's something else that we could do with that space that wouldn't conflict. That's my personal opinion.
I think
I think you
a
do it all.
couple
I
of
think
minute
plan
clips
moves
are
are
fine
cool.
and great, I just have it burned in my head about copyrights from showing movies here at the library, we don't know, I mean, there's gonna be a bunch of people, it only takes one person to pitch a fit, as we know. And if we can sell public domain stuff or get a movie from these guys for free, do it. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah,
Why
we
not?
can
I mean,
check
there's
out,
gonna be
check out a
people
couple things
walking
in the
all up
library.
from Corbett's to downtown, so.
Alright,
I
how
think
about,
we
how
should do it.
about, how about the three of us volunteer to put some scary stuff at the, in between boxes?
Okay,
Okay?
Okay.
Okay, we'll do that.
I'll run the, if you wanna do a projector, I'll run that.
You run the projector, we'll put the scary stuff up.
I wanna do a maze, we'll talk about it.
That's
scary. And then on the G
I've got the petitions doing that.
Gee,
I got all the petitions.
is flowers.
Okay, so as I went through Laney's thing, I think we originally agreed upon $1,500 for her budget. But then we found out that we had to do the flower baskets, we found out we had to do the clock tower. There were all these things that got put into place. Now, looking at the DDA piece of it, we don't have to do in front of the Masons. We don't have to do in front of Mortensons, because that's not part of the DDA territory. If we look at the original $3,500, that's what the village spent.
3,000, yep, I think you spent 3,000.
3,000,
Yep.
that's what the village spent. As of now, we've spent 178208. We won't, I would, as I'm looking at it today, I knew something wasn't right, and that's why I specifically pulled up all the emails. She sent through 2 August invoices. One, she neglected to put in her September 23rd, whatever. So long story short is the village needs to pay her $195, not $172.29. Because her her second email she sent didn't have that August 23rd, whatever, 2 hours worth of whatever that she did. Breaking it down, we're at 1782.08. $689.58 was spent in materials and flowers. That includes the 9 flower baskets, which we realized we missed a couple. 74.34 in materials and 560.25 in extra flowers planted. So when you take that down, outside of materials and flowers, we're at like, you know, pretty much 1,100 or so
For labor.
for labor. With about 700 in materials and flowers. She still has to cut everything down. I have told her to keep out separate my 2 corners, because originally, back when we talked before we ever even got here, I said that, you know, whatever, if I had to, I would take care of my 2 corners. So I wanna make sure that we keep within budget that's reasonable. Obviously, we're a lot less than where we were at when the village was paying somebody else. I mean, we're only looking at probably another 12 hours for her to cut things down. The majority of the costs that we spent, back in May, she spent almost 30 hours. That was the biggest part of our labor, and that was her actually cleaning out the beds. Where I don't know if you guys have looked at it, but like, there's a big portion of each bed that has grass growing in it. Not to mention dead flowers that are growing out, and like, because things haven't been trimmed down in the fall, they're not growing back in the spring. There's a lot that she has to trim back, so on and so forth. So, in looking at what she's going to need to really finish the job and finish it done right, knowing that we motioned on 1,500, but I don't remember if we added an extra, how
I think
much?
we talked about it, but I don't know that we did.
I don't think so either.
There was, I feel like there was some sort of motion, like, go ahead, let's motion an extra 500 for her to do
Maybe
the
it
extra
was.
flower
I'll have to
baskets
look
or
at the
something.
minutes.
Yeah.
That's, I think that's really important for us to know. But I would look at the total budget for what we're going to spend as 2,500 for the village, for what she's responsible for. I'm feeling pretty confident she's gonna be a lot less than that, but I'd rather ask
Okay.
for that extra 1,000 for flower maintenance based on so on and so forth. That's still $500 less than what the village spent last year. And we can look at that budget for next year, knowing that probably everything's gonna be a little bit less, unless we wanna spend some extra money to have other things, like she put a sunflower in our bed, which I'm kind of feeling like I paid for as part of the business, because I told her that, because in talking to her, we're still trying to like figure out who's paying for what. I said, well, just take your hours that you're spending on these 2 beds that I told you, whatever, but we need to make sure that we have everything together and right. Bottom line is, we're still less, we're gonna be way less than what we spent on the person, what the village spent on the person the previous year. And we're going to be in better shape going into the spring to be able to do new plantings.
So
That's-
you're asking for a motion to expand the budget to $2,500.
Right,
For the
from
flowers.
1,500 to 2,500, capped at 2,500.
Why did you say so?
Anything more?
I
Well,
think-
just because, I mean, it's my person, and I feel, you know, she does work for me at home, whatever. I mean, in her email, she talks about donating like $200 or more worth of materials of her own seeds, she sprouts and plants and blah, blah, just because she appreciates the business and blah, blah, blah.
I think we've come in under budget on like the open space area. I don't know where we're at with anything on that necessarily as far as reimbursement.
Did she do all of them? You said she wasn't doing one?
That's what my question
She
was.
has been
So she's
doing,
done them all, okay.
she has
okay.
been doing them.
What was your comment
Here's
about
my
the one in
comment.
front of Mortensen?
I am sure that every year, my suggestion to the village council is, as far as the DDA is concerned, I don't think it was never my intention that the flowers be taken care of by the DDA, so the village could save $3,000. My
Right.
intention was, we still realize that that's responsibility. I have no problem, I don't think the council would, but every year, we
Right.
put $3,000 toward the DDA instead of in our budget, so the DDA has control over the
Yes.
DDA or the flowers. That was my intention, I don't know if
Yeah.
the council understood
No, I
that. It wasn't
agree.
like,
Yeah.
we don't wanna spend the 3,000.
Mhm.
It's like, we'll spend it, so I don't know, like, every year we won't appropriate $3,000 to the DDA for flowers out of our budget, so the DDA can have control over it.
And so to that point, then, my question would be to you, is the garden club, I believe, takes care of the sign?
The sign
and
areas, correct?
The
Yeah.
sign
Yeah.
areas?
The garden club takes care of just the
Entrances
village
in the town,
entrances
right?
and the
Yeah,
town
welcome to
signs.
Central Lake
And they
signs.
do that as just donation,
We
volunteers,
make a, I
sort
think,
of
$150 or
thing?
$200
I think we
donation.
kinda
to
cover
them.
the cost of their
Yeah.
flowers a little bit.
Sure, they do
yeah,
the
for
same thing,
donation.
sort of in Elk Rapids,
Yeah.
actually, Elk Rapids takes care of a lot, their garden club, but
Did you
anyways.
say that you don't take care of, or you don't have to take care of the one in front of Mortensen's and
No,
the?
she's not, it's all the DDA district, what she
Because-
does.
But they're still taking care of them.
They,
Or
she
will.
is still
Okay.
taking care of them, yep,
My
yep.
only other question that would come into play in that is down to Thurston Park and the boardwalk area, there's a flower bed down there. Did she take care of that one this year?
No, she only took care of the four
In town.
corners and then the four.
Well, I know them are out
corners.
of your guys' DDA area.
I-
That was a part of our initial package that everybody took care of, or that Sandra Bodemetter at the time took care of.
I think
Okay.
it is.
So I think if you guys are doing them, that you incorporate all of that. I know
Okay.
that,
I don't know that we can.
I think what it is you don't have to ask for any more money, that's what it is.
Well,
The
I don't
money
think we
you
can
had
have the
funded
same
for
person
the
do it, we'll work it out.
Exactly, yes.
You know what I'm
Donated.
saying?
that's what I'm trying to get
It's
at.
just nice to have the same person
Anything?
doing them all and get the
Yes.
same fee,
All right, let's do this then.
so that'll work.
The open space didn't really cost us anything, it was all mostly donations.
All donated.
All donations. So I think we could, do we have to even amend the budget necessarily as far as, can we just appropriate some of the money that was going to the open space that was set aside for that and just redirect that to flowers? Or do we have to take that to the village council and go through a budget amendment process? Right?
Well, I think when we talked originally on the budget, we were getting hung up on what was gonna be set aside for what, is that the main idea was there was certain money to set aside, and then we kind of delegated it and allocated where we need to. But with this, do we need to really even up it, if she comes in over at the end and we're all on board, okay, whatever it is, 2,200, 2,250?
My concern is just that if we go in and we say flowers only gonna be 1,500 and we end up with a $2,000 bill,
Right,
people are gonna be going, what? Well, the flowers in front of the library weren't done. Well, that's because we were told there were only 10 baskets instead of 12, and, you know,
It's
and we
a
didn't
learning
know about
experience for
Thurston
us.
Park, but I would tell you that, like, if she's going to take over Thurston Park, if that's going to become part of her thing, she's gonna wanna go and cut it down now, like this time of the year, so that
so
way
it might be
next
an
year,
amendment, because
she
they're taking on
can
new,
revitalize and stuff, and then all of a sudden things just become cheaper versus her going in like
Well,
she
it's
did
hours in
in
the
late
spring.
mid-May or whatever, and she can't cut things down because they're already starting to
Okay,
grow,
so-
and,
Should that be done?
At this week's council meeting, we will hopefully approve letting her go cut it down.
Okay.
So we can get beyond that step.
Yeah.
For now, I would suggest that you just amend the budget to what it needs to be, since the village council did approve the budget, I'd bring an amended budget to the council to approve, so there's no. And
so,
then next year, we'll have a much better plan on this. You know what I'm
and
saying?
It's a learning
Oh, yeah,
experience.
let's just get through this year, if you,
in foresight then of Thurston Park potentially being added, why don't we move, motion to move the budget to $3,000, just to make sure we're covered and we're not over budget, we're at the same at what they
I
spent
don't
last
think you
year.
can, that's where it's probably have to be two different things to the same person, because the DDA is not allowed to spend money outside the DDA district.
Just have.
So she can do it all, if she bills the village
instead of-
500 and you 20, I just want to be the same person.
Okay.
If we got all winter to figure out how we're gonna do that, we just want to get through now.
Okay.
So I
Right?
need, I need
I
to.
think you're on the right.
So she, she breaks it down,
Okay.
we'll deal with it.
I-
I will get approval of her to go cut that and build a village.
Okay.
Yeah.
I will try, put it that way,
Let's-
take it to the
I'll make a
council.
motion that we expand the flower budget by $1,000 from $1,500 to $2,500.
I second it.
All in favor?
Right.
Aye.
And then you'll,
You said 1,000?
Increase it by 1,000,
Increase it by
from
1,000.
1,500 to 2,500?
okay, and you can just give me that by next Thursday, take it to the council.
Let me make myself a note. Thursday, updated budget.
So then.
Didn't you
disregard
guys have
my
3,000 budgeted
172,
for salaries?
29, 95.
Okay.
5,000.
Didn't you guys previously budget 3,000 for salaries? Or was that your projected budget?
I don't remember.
That's what's in our revenue over expenditure.
I will have to look when I.
Yeah, just look at the budget you have,
Yeah, we'll adjust it,
and make sure
whatever.
it's.
For flowers?
Yeah.
For flowers, her bid was way lower, like half.
Yeah, all right, let's move on.
Public comment.
Public comment. No public comment, we'll talk plenty.
I'm glad he came and gave this stuff.
We gave him a chance, he walked
Yeah,
out.
you walked out good.
Yeah, we'll move on, we'll be adjourned before he gets back.
Yep, go.
Board comments.
I only have one. I'm gonna ask the village council Thursday night to write a thank you letter to Alden Bank for their donation of the lot. I think it'd look great if the DDA was signed on that letter too.
Agreed.
I'm also gonna ask them to put a thank you in the paper, and I'd just like the DDA and the village council to be on it together, so if we just approve doing, I'll make sure somebody sees the letter, you know, whether we want
Yeah.
Cory to see it or whatever, because I wanna get it done, that was quite a donation for him, and I'd like a little plaque in here when it's done too, which we can discuss it another time, but I would at least wanna send them a thank you letter, and I will call Tom Lane to see if they'd like to thank him, some people don't want that public stuff, you know what I mean? So I don't wanna just put it out there,
Right.
but I at least wanna send them a letter from the village council and the
Yep.
DDA.
I think that's a great idea,
Okay.
and do we need to have a vote on it really? Just talk.
I don't think so.
No.
But is that big, if I just give it to
Yeah.
Cory or
That's
if he
great.
says it's okay, it'll be fine, I'm sure it will.
I'm sure.
Outside of writing a thank you letter, oh, sorry, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, go ahead.
Outside of writing a thank you letter, I would like to thank Melissa for coming forward with all the different regulations and things that we often overlook or don't think about. While it's, you know, tasking at times to have to think about these things, her input is invaluable. So I wanna say thank you.
Thanks, and the DDA, cldda.org is available, I just looked it up, so if we're gonna go with that, that'd be good. cldda.org.
That's probably the first.
Weren't you listening to the flower thing, you were doing that, same time? You multitasking?
Any other board comments?
Nancy and I are gonna get together and work on steering committee stuff here just after the meeting, exchange contact info and set some dates.
All right. And anybody else? Moving on. Chairman comments. I just kinda wanna go over real quick what we did this last year, because it's been a full year, And this is probably not, this is not inclusive, it doesn't probably include everything, I had like 10 minutes to read through a bunch of old minutes real quick. Really, a year ago was when we founded the DDA. September 29th was our first meeting. It was at the end of the month, and now, since then, we've since moved to the beginning of the month. We adopted bylaws, we're still trying to get the farmer's market up and going. Got some volunteers for that, hopefully we'll make a go of that this fall. We adopted the Main Street program, we've dealt with the downtown flowers, we've dealt with the open space, we've come up with a development plan and a TIF plan, and this is all in the course of a year. Not to mention all the other little odds and ends that we've dealt with, and I think it's really, having the DDAs helped get the community and other organizations and other people really thinking about the downtown and really thinking about ways to improve the area. If anything, we just helped start the conversation. And so I thought that was kind of neat looking back in time, 2 years ago versus a year ago versus now. It's really, there's a lot of little things that have added up to something. So I just wanted to tell everybody it's been really nice having support of all the local businesses, the village council. The village president's been on board with, Ken's been on board with everything as we kind of went forward and been a good resource. You know, it's just been a really nice showing and shows that we care about the town. So I just want to say thank you. It was really, really kind of nice. So that's all I have.
Rome wasn't built in a day, but we're getting close.
Yeah, it just takes time.
And thank you, Cory.
Well, thank you.
Didn't beat it at all.
All right, I move that we adjourn.
I motion, second.
All in favor? What's that?
Unanimous.
Unanimous?
So we've got the
All right,
revenue
we're done.
expenditure form,
Okay.
3,000 in salaries already.
No, that's just what we put.
Okay, and that was gonna be my question,
This is how
because
we
this
broke
is
down our.
of their 20,000,
Yes.
that's not the approved
That's not
budget.
their
then. Okay.
approval. This is how we broke down the
That's-
credit.
I wasn't sure on that
Yeah,
particular
that's what
one.
we did, that's what that was,
Yeah.
And they brought us a budget.
And that was the
under that 20.
So really, we figured them just spent 3,000 in that.
Anyway.
Well, yeah, well, they can find it or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
If they can amend the budget, find it in the budget. Oh, that's up to great.
Yeah. I think it's great.
Next year we'll deal with.
What's that?
We'll all
Yeah.
get Friday tax.
Yeah.
Recycles, but I think
And
we're really good. That's what's-
Which one, the one in the back, huh?
Very few things in it to
And
look at.
list, wanna turn it off?
But that's not what
Thank you.
Just
Just a little.
Hey, I'd like to go to
Yeah.
pull this